Hello, trading is closed on March 15th, 2018. My last call said the pattern was basically positive, and unless we gapped under these lows, higher prices should print, which they did. Shortly after I made the prediction, futures tanked down to 27.45, but as my late friend Bill Blount used to say, futures lie, but cash doesn't. So we did have a pretty good rally here. We also said that unless we gapped under these lows, support wins. And so far, despite this big drop breaking all the lows, we couldn't hold on to this break of the lows. And unless we invalidate the move by gapping under this low, which I don't think is going to happen, higher prices should print tomorrow. Tomorrow's pattern is the one with the early high. So is Monday's. During the day, whipsaw markets are where MEJT really helps one out. Here it's ultimately lower prices would print. We got the minimum. We usually get more. Said the drop was false. We had a strong rally. Said it was false. Prices would retrace. Here it said lower prices would print, but they wouldn't stick because the move was false. Predicts a rally to 2754.50, most likely by tomorrow's close, and that's my call. There were a number of clues that this break wasn't going to hold, but that doesn't mean it had to stop where it did. It could have gone further first. Tom DeMark has things called TD lines, and he has criteria for valid breaks of these lines. And absent the gap here, it didn't meet those criteria. What applies to his lines also applies to support resistance areas, levels. So even though it didn't have to stop as short as it did, it did tell you quite a bit ahead of time this wasn't going to stick. Of course, the MEJT system also said the same thing. Right over here, it said the move would not stick. This is a pattern which almost always closes at the day's low, and it does not. And it's not invalidated by gapping under this low tomorrow morning. Should lead to higher prices, but that could be the last hurrah for the bulls. Here's what I think's going on. We're stopping right at this line. We've hit it a number of times. This break was a false break, but the next time it hits it, it's going to be for real. And one of DeMark's rules is unsustainable breaks become sustainable breaks later on. Here's what I think's going on. Here was one. That's probably the end of two. And we're now making wave 3. Not the only count. If this is the first leg of wave 3, it's probably over. These are all 5 waves for 1, 3 waves for 2, 5 waves, 3 waves, 5 waves. That should be over. I'm looking for 3 waves up. Once we have 3 waves up, we're going to have wave 3 of wave 3. And wave 3s of multiple degree can be vicious, sharp. Someone once said there were a thing to behold. So we could drop very fast, very quickly once this next up move I'm seeing completes. For Friday, I'm looking for us to move a bit higher, but once this is over, and before too many more days have passed, I expect a very steep drop to begin. And by the end of next week, I expect this to be significantly lower than we are now, even though I think tomorrow will be up. And that's today's call.